first time turn on a mic, so hopefully it's on. So you see, when I decided to do this show, I had two things in my mind. The first was this would either massively boost or deflate my ego, depending on how much you laugh. And I can already see it's not going to be very much. The second was, it's pretty hard to get people to laugh with you. So I'd rather get people to laugh at me. So I'm going to be sharing some of my mistakes that I've made in the past few months of my life. The first is the time I got pulled over. So you see, I was driving down Leavenworth Road, which is the road we're on, I hope you know it. And I was under the impression the whole road was 40 miles per hour. This is not true. Thank you, whoever said no out there. I did not know that. So there I am going, 41, 42 miles per hour, and I pass a church. And a cop pulls out of the church behind me, he turns on his lights. I'm like, oh no, there's a crime. Like, it's not me. It was me. I'm like, let me get out of the way. He stops behind me. I'm like, oh shoot. He comes up to my window, he starts talking to a walkie-talkie. He says something about 42 and a 30, and he goes, ma'am? And I realized then he was asking me a question. And I said, what? He's like, were you aware you were going 42 and a 30? And I was like, sir, are you sure there was a sign? He said, I clocked you as you passed the sign. So it was my bad. He then asked if he could see my insurance. I didn't know where my insurance was. I say, may I call my mother? He said, yes, why don't you give me your license? I give him my license. I call my mom. I say, hey mom, how you doing? She says, I'm doing pretty good. I say, I have a question. She goes, what? I say, where's the insurance for the car? She said, in the glove box. I'm like, perfect. She's like, why? I say, we'll talk about this later. I hang up. I find the insurance. He comes over to the window. I point to the name. I say, sir, is this the name of insurance? It was the name of insurance. He took it. He said, I was free to go. No ticket. He said, don't speed. No more. And I said, yes, sir. I will not make the mistake again. So as I mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention, I just realized I didn't. I was leaving work when this happened. Now, I work at a little bakery in Baser, the name of which I will not tell you because I don't want you to find me. But this bakery, every day they have a lunch special. And this particular day, the lunch special was meatloaf sandwich. Now, we have a store phone, and someone calls the store phone. And the manager's like, Genevieve, answer that phone. I'm like, okay, Andy. I don't like answering the phone, but I will for you. So I answer the phone, and this lady asks me, do you like the meatloaf sandwich? I tell her, ma'am, I don't like meatloaf. Because, she's asking me if I like meatloaf, and so I say no. She kind of awkwardly laughed, and she said, I'll think about it. And my manager was not very pleased. I'm no longer really allowed to answer the phone because no one else is there. Another thing I'm not really allowed to do anymore is call my mother old. This one I still do anyway. But, calling her old to her face, just like, you are old, that's kind of rude. So you gotta make it funny. So we're like, Mom, what was it like when you came over on the Mayflower? Did you get to sign the Declaration of Independence? I was working on a Great Depression worksheet for my United States history class. And I said, hey, I need a primary source. Can you help me out? Now for my final sense of jokes. If any of you out there, maybe the if the topic of mothers may be sensitive to you, this may seem a little insensitive. Feel free to scroll on Facebook Reels. So I have a friend, right? And I tell her quite a hilarious yo mama joke. And she informs me of, which I know might have forgotten,